Yeah. Go on, mate.
Man, I mean, it's just absolutely shocking that Tottenham Hotspur has become what we've become. You saw the Jamie Carragher comments from 4 years ago talking about Daniel Levy's net spend over the course of the Poch tenure in the 4 years. And, he predicted what was going to happen to the club perfectly, in that it was all going to fall away. And, I mean, hard to say it's hard to say that it hasn't fallen away already. So I don't know. It's a very frustrating time to be a Spurs fan, because we're at the bottom of the barrel right now, and it's a long way up, and we don't really seem to have the players or the manager who are going to be taking us to that level. At the end of the transfer window, I was saying, it was a window that wasn't geared towards being competitive this year, and that's just showing now. But man, it is so difficult to mount a defense for Nuno Espirito Santo right now, the way that the team is playing. I mean, United could have played without a keeper today. We
Yeah.
didn't get a single shot on goal. And the thing is too, like, after we went to Newcastle, I got into a couple of heated debates with some Tottenham fans over the second half, because for me, the alarm bells were already ringing when we had this 3-1 lead, and we were bossing the ball, but we couldn't create anything. We couldn't break them down, and that's literally the worst Newcastle performance that I've seen in years. They always give us a good game, especially at St. James Park, but they weren't even. We were just free to pass the ball as we saw fit, and we still couldn't. We didn't even get a single shot on target. And I said it then, like, the writing is on the wall for when we play better sides, that we're going to get punished for performances like this. We can't simply. It just wasn't good enough. And sure enough, no shots on target in the second half against West Ham. 70 minutes to get a shot on target against Burnley in the cup this week, and no shots on target today at home to Manchester United. There's just absolutely no excuse for it. It's abysmal, and yeah, I don't know how else to.
Can
It's
I ask you a quick question, Cody? Arteta went through his pain. David Moyes went through his pain. The fans hated and wanted Arteta out. They didn't like Moyes initially. Do we as Tottenham fans go through this with the club, and there's reports coming out of the club, this is transitional, it will take time? Or do you think we just say enough is enough now? I've seen enough errors and poor decisions and lack of, creativity, that we cut Nuno? I mean, where do you sit on that fence? Because there is a part of the fan base which will feel like, listen, we're in a transition, and there's examples in the Premier League today doing well in the West Ham's and Arsenal's, where if you stick it out through these painful periods, you can come good. I mean, where do you sit on that one with our situation?
Oh man, Nuno in or Nuno out. I mean, there's not really a defense for keeping him around. I'm not. I'm really like reticent to ask for managers to be sacked. I just think that even it's tough. It's like it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing when you sack your manager. And we're looking at the quarter poll here of the Premier League season. Um, but there's no tactics. There's no the substitutions aren't making sense. The energy from the players is not good. Players are screaming at each other. Players' commitment levels are being questioned. Um, I honestly, like, even at the height of when things were terrible with Jose, I was reticent to call for Jose to be sacked, and I still think the timing and everything was a bit of a mistake. I don't think I'm not going to call for Nuno to get sacked, but I can't defend him anymore, if you know what I mean. I'm not trying to sit on the
Yeah.
fence here, but the reality is Nuno was always meant to be a stopgap manager, someone who is just supposed to get us through this season. And, there's that clause in his contract where he can be released without compensation if he doesn't get top six. Um, so it's tough. It's really tough. Like, he's a manager who was brought in I'm not going to say that the intent wasn't for Tottenham to be a successful club with him. You know, I'm sure we wanted to win, but it doesn't look like a very good fit at the moment. And I don't know. The thing is, what manager is available right now that wasn't available in the summer that would want
What
to
about
come
going
here
back
right
to
now?
Mason?
You know,
I mean, Mason's there waiting in the wings. Do you think Mason's a better shout than currently what we've got?
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. I just worry that, you know, you bring in Ryan Mason and you're looking at Dele Alli and Harry Winks coming into the team again. You know, Ryan Mason, you know, I'm not going to put the blame on him for Ndombele wanting to leave in the summer solely. You know, like it's up to the player to commit and want to be at Spurs and everything. But, you know, that relationship was fractured. So it's like if you bring Ryan Mason and you're shifting Ndombele back out of the squad and you're bringing in Dele Alli and Harry Winks. I don't know if I'm quite ready for that, but I mean, geez, the football is terrible. There's no defending it. It's just the worst football I think I've ever seen Spurs play. It's so far from what was promised in that statement back in May from Daniel Levy as far as the free-flowing attacking football. The players aren't playing for each other. They're not making unselfish plays. You know, that last pass, you saw it a couple of times against West Ham. You know, there was an opportunity to square the ball at the last second, and it wasn't happening, and players were screaming at each other. It's just all bad right now. You know, you really don't want to like be too overly reactionary in a situation like this. It's all bad.
Is there any
Great, you made us feel better.
There's no positives.
No, there's nothing to say. I mean, it's absolutely bang on. I mean, it's rotten from the very core, isn't it? And Brains also mentioned that, you know. It's just we're seeing the knock-on effect, the residual knock-on effect from the lack of commitment and ambition from the very, very top, and we're now seeing the fruits of that on the pitch, and it has been happening for a long time now. And you made the comment, didn't you, about like Kane is just he's the expression of what's wrong institutionally with the club at the moment. You're seeing it through his performance. His performance is the expression of what's going on for the whole club. It's rotting.
He's showing the fans.
He's showing the fans what's the issue. It's like a mirror.
This is why I don't want to be here.
Yeah, no, I agree with
that. And in fact,
well.
that helps the club in the long run because it shows
it's a window. It's a window into the club's
inside
soul or whatever you want to call it. And it's not a good one at the moment.
Yeah, the thing is, too, you know, there's an old saying, and that is you're only as strong as your weakest link. And, I mean, take your pick at who you want to point the finger at right now.
Nuno?
It's more difficult to kind of figure out who, if anybody, is a strong link at this point. You know, it's collapse. It's total collapse. But, like, in some respects, is there a point in sacking Nuno? Because, like, yeah, maybe Ryan Mason comes in and we might play some more attacking football, but I don't think it would result in us winning more games. Like I think this season, it's pretty safe at this point to like write the season off. You know, like it's still early in the season, and you don't want to like overreact, but like this team just sucks, right?
It does. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's down to the manager or if it's down to the players or if there's shared responsibility. They're kind of always shared, but like Nuno was supposed to be the man before the man. If we fire Nuno, let's say we fire Nuno and we bring in someone else, like whether it's Gallardo or we break the bank and bring in Ten Hag, you know, are we still so cemented in the bottom of the barrel here that whoever we bring in next will also be
a victim,
you know, a victim of what's going on because
they can't perform miracles.
If someone comes in here and basically the only person that can come in here and get leash to like go through the storm, the eye of the storm would be Pochettino.
Yeah.
But even he
dropped off.
I think
he ended up getting the sack. Like the results are what matters in the end, and if the results aren't going to be there, regardless of the coach, I don't know if we should be sacking Nuno or just riding his bloated corpse down the lazy river for the rest of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I actually think that Pochettino, given the resources, was actually performing miracles with us, working on a shoestring. Unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable.
So you bring any other manager in, they're going to find it very hard to work to that same template.
Yep.
You see what I mean? But even Poch still couldn't do it because the conditions weren't right for him to thrive.
Think Fabio Paratici and Levy need to have a sit down and think about.
They have to realise it's them. That ultimately, the common denominator has to come down to the board and the ultimate ambition from the top.
Shit trickles up, not always down.
Absolutely,
not always down.
Yeah.
Thing is, you have a chairman who, under pressure back in May, made this statement about free flowing attacking football, and like, let's be fair, that's historically the style of football that Tottenham have been associated with. Has it won us anything? Not really, but that's what fans yearn for equally with the success. He was under pressure after the Super League debacle. He knew that he had to bring somebody else in to start making footballing decisions because the club was clearly on a downward path. You sacked arguably our best manager since Keith Birkinshaw. Yeah. You brought in Jose. It failed. It went away from what the principles and the, I hate using the term DNA, but like the DNA of the club.
Yeah.
And like, what did the interview between Levy and Paratici actually consist of? Like, what questions did he ask him? Did Levy just hire this motherfucker because he has a history of having difficult negotiations with him? And he's like, I like the cut of your jib, like, never mind the fact that he understands and acknowledges that, like, look at the pragmatic coaches who, like, you could argue Tuchel is a pragmatic coach, right? You could argue Conte is a pragmatic coach. There are lots of pragmatic coaches who have good success. So, like, when you bring in a director of football who believes in a pragmatic approach and you promise the complete opposite to the fan base, like, with Nuno goes, does Paratici have to go too? Like, is it a mistake to have signed him? Because he's not we all want the same goal, but the methods of getting there are not in alignment right now, and it shows. The product on the pitch is exactly what we're seeing, and that is we have a complete and utter mess in the hierarchy of this.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
It's a jumbled mess.
Levy said in his post-season sort of report, didn't he, that he said, we understand that there's a way that Spurs have to play on the pitch, and we understand that we're not playing positive enough, aggressive enough, didn't he? And then now look at us. So
the thing is, I think the DNA needs to be winning football matches before we go back to the 90s and.
Yeah, but you win football matches by playing a little bit more on the front foot, fizzing the ball around a little bit more, so not just sort of sit back and wait for teams to
how many fans will say,
smash you?
Screw the DNA, I just want to be back in top 6, top 4
Yeah, but how do you do that? It's through a performance.
Yes, and if that performance means Jose Mourinho putting everyone back and winning, some fans will take that, although they'll hate it.
We tried it and it didn't work.
Because the squad wasn't deep enough. I think Jose potentially would have got us top 4 if the squad was deeper. You run out of options, don't get me wrong. The man's toxic to a certain point, and he does wind up people wrong way. But if you look at the squad depth, who can really take this squad and challenge with the Chelseas, Liverpools, Uniteds, Cities, even Arsenal now, I hate to say it, but they look like, they've got a chance. West Ham.
They look fresher, more vibrant, don't they?
And our squad it's not old, but it's starting. It needs a major refresh.
Do you know what? I think even Harry Redknapp could get more of a tune out of this team.
Yeah, I think just on Fabio, Emerson's been a good signing, a good find. I don't know what he's doing at Tottenham. I think Emerson.
By the way, I don't want Harry Redknapp. I'm just saying, like
Romero's been a good signing. Emerson has potential as well. He's just hit the ground literally. First season, first few weeks, months, and Gil looks something.
Yeah,
good.
But they're all kind of prospects, aren't
and
they?
They're all potentials. Yeah. But I just wonder if Fabio. Tonight sits there, and I mean, CODY, before we let you go, I've got so many callers in the back end. Are you saying Nuno in for a couple more games? I know you're saying who do we bring in, but if you had to say yes or no, mate, I'm not sorry to put you on the spot, but are you swaying towards Nuno out and then we just work it out, or do you think still give him a few more games?
Oh man.
Sorry to put you on the spot, man, but I want to know your views, man.
We're going to have to ask everyone the same question then. We'll ask
everyone
the same question.
Without emotion.
You have to make a decision now, and the decision stays tomorrow.
With your pragmatic hat on, not your emotional hat necessarily. I know what he's going to say.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just really try and approach these type of questions with empathy, And the reality is he was brought in, and he's going to end up being a scapegoat. I think we can all see that this is not going to be something that lasts. But I still think it's too soon. And that's not, by no means am I saying like I want to continue to watch what we watched today.
We've got it out of you, Cody.
Yeah,
he's in for the time being. I get it.
I'm not going to say I'm Nuno in. I'm just going to say I'm not Nuno out. You know, like it's just it's
you found
it's
a
just
third
so
option.
harsh. we just can't be that club that hires and fires managers after 10 Premier League games. I just don't see that as being, because if I'm a managerial candidate, right, and I believe in my ability, if I'm like a Graham Potter or even a Gallardo or whoever,
why would you come Spurs?
And I watch the way that Tottenham treat their employees, right? Sacking Jose 6 days before a cup final and potentially sacking Nuno after 10 games, right? Am I going to come here if they offer me the job? Thing is, we're backing ourselves into a corner of being a club that can only attract candidates who are either coming here strictly because of the money, or they're coming here because they are past their coaching prime and they've failed elsewhere, or they're desperate, you know? So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's a double-edged sword for me.
Yeah, because, I know. I feel the same way. I don't think we can be knee-jerk, but at the same time, yeah, it's not good, is it? And it's not just that we're losing games 1-0. We're losing 3-0.
Well, we love a 3-0 loss, don't we?
Don't we? That's our trademark scoreline.
That's consistent about us, that we lose 3-0. Before we let Cody go, I was going to say is United tonight, it was all about Ole out. El Sakiko, right? He's just won.
The good news is he's in for the next few months now.
And the board will sit there and say,
he's turned a corner.
Potentially fans will sit there and go, glad we kept him, right? I don't know where they are, 5th or whatever they are tonight. Arteta was the same. Moyes was the same. And we've seen it in the past that some of the best managers have the worst starts. Pochettino won 3 of his first 9 games, and we're in the 9th game now. So history can tell you that, you know, the best starts necessarily don't mean you're gonna smash it later down the line. I guess that's the only thing you can hold on to now, is somehow he's going to turn it around. But some of those decisions, even a non-footballing man wouldn't make. So that's the worry, isn't it?
That's
decisions.
The thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Cody, I'm sorry, I know you're about to come in with another point, but we've got so many on the back end. We're going to have to go to them. But, Cody, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Yeah, I know we didn't speak for a while, but then you've come back on, and it's good having you back the last few times I've been on anyway. So
find him on Twitter, Cody Mack. Just quickly plug yourself, mate. His Twitter is amazing. One of the best entertaining Twitters out there. So quickly plug yourself, mate.
Oh, it's just at CoMacDo if you want to find me on Twitter, but just be prepared for dripping sarcasm and more.
Get on there, people.
Basically, the Twitter version of what you've heard tonight. You know, but
take care.
Great job, guys.
All right, cheers, Cody.
And glory.
Yeah,
glory.